What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It's been hot today, guys. It's supposed to get even hotter on Monday. So, yeah. Started calling for a little bit, but not going to be on too long. Yeah, finally started cooling down, and yeah, it was really hot earlier. So, yeah, I'm away this weekend, guys, if anyone's there. So, yeah, going to like this festival thingy. I'll probably just do half an hour or so and just see who comes in. But yeah, I can't stay up too late tonight because I've got to get up and get to this place, really. But hopefully it won't be too busy on the train and stuff. But you know, it is bank holiday weekend, so yeah, probably won't be ideal, but we'll see how it goes, really. Anyway, is everybody doing all right then? Oh, there's nobody here. What the hell? What is going on here? Let's give it a couple of minutes, but seems like they've pretty much just stopped pushing my lives out. So, yeah. Hello, Marissa. How are you doing? Welcome to the live. Hope all is well. So, what are you up to this weekend? Bank holiday weekend, isn't it? Yeah. Hope you're all doing well anyway. Yeah. So, anyway. Is everybody all right? Welcome to the chat. Hello, Andy. No, I won't be doing that. No. No, thank you. Anyway, why would I do that? You're in my live stream, so why would I be giving you money? Hello, Freddie. How you doing? Hope you're well. Welcome to the live. Why would I? Nah, I don't think so. I don't really do like Roblox and that kind of stuff. So, all right. So is everybody doing all right then? I hope you're all well tonight. Hi, Freddie. Welcome in. How's it going? Let me just sort this title out real quick. Hello, Danny. I don't really play video games. The last one I played was probably Bookworm. It was like a kind of word puzzle game, really, but thank you for the like, whoever that is. So it was like a word puzzle type of game, but yeah. Anyway, is everybody all right then? Hope you're all well tonight. Yeah, so see who joins. Yeah. What do I do? I like listening to music and stuff. Yeah, different kinds of music and things like that. I also like comedy and some other things, really, but yeah, I don't really do a lot of video games these days. I used to when I was a kid, but I've kind of grown out of it, you know. A lot of people just grow out of it, but some people don't. Some people are gamers for life, but I don't know, I just kind of, oh really, I'm the real Donald Trump. You're fake news. Yeah, I know there's games for adults, but I've just grown out of it, you know. Sometimes people just grow out of things. If you know what I mean, it's like there's just certain things that you just kind of just lose interest in it. It's just one of those things. People get older, people change, their interests change, their priorities change, you know. Sometimes you prioritize other things. There's only so much time in the day to do whatever you want to do, so it's about prioritizing doing the things you want to do the most, really, and just, you know what I mean. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well tonight, people. What about women? I mean, not really. I just kind of just, like I said, into just kind of doing things like I said, just watch videos, like to watch documentaries, things like that. No, I don't chase women, no. And I don't think people should be chasing women as such. But anyway, what's this? Whenever I join your stream, YT crashes. What's going on here? That's weird. What is going on? Is there something going on with my live streams lately? Is there some kind of shadow banning going on or something? I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Lately, just no, hardly anybody joining. So, what is going on here lately, The views have just gone through the floor, and I don't know what's going on. Has YouTube just shadow banned it or something or what? Because this is not normal. I've got 13,000 subs. Where the fuck are they all, But anyway, whatever, Yeah, whatever. Anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, hope you're all well anyway. Just thought I'd come on for a little bit and just see how everyone's doing. I've not really been on much today, but yeah, I'll just come on whenever I want to come on. I'm not going to try and force myself to come on when I don't really want to, because then I'm just going to be miserable and not really putting out my best self, really. Because I've had times where I've just tried to force it and then just end up, things just get to me, I just get sick of all the nonsense in the chat stuff. I tried finding out if I could try and play on subscriber-only mode, but it seems like from the app it's not really possible, so. Hello, Canel. How's it going? I hope you're well tonight. So, yeah. So apparently somebody wants me to fail. 33% of the votes, so that's 4 votes in total that they just want me to fail. Is that what it is? Yeah. See how many kind of like haters I've got or whatever. Anyway, but yeah, is everybody all right then? Okay, can you stop with that, Tiffany, please? You're spamming the chat now. There's no need for that. This is what I mean. I just come on and this is the kind of shit that I get. What do you mean? Okay, make acronyms great again. Oh goodness. Anyway, but yeah, it's been very hot today, so yeah. Just can sometimes feel a little bit exhausted after a while. So I've just kind of, just been taking it easy. I was actually quite busy earlier, so then I just had to have a bit of a timeout and just kind of relax for a while. So I couldn't be bothered going live for a while, really. Just, yeah. I'm not going to try and force myself to, You can't force yourself to do anything, or you shouldn't try and force yourself to do anything anyway. It's not worth it, is it, If your body's saying, I don't really want to do this, then don't do it, Like, you don't owe anybody anything, like they were saying earlier, If you can't, if you don't feel your best, there's no point, because then you're not going to be putting your best side out, You're more likely to react, you're more likely to just come across as depressed and give off the wrong impression, which is going to hurt you more than anything. So it's probably best to just only come on when you're actually feeling like it. What's the point otherwise, Then you're just kind of, yeah. Anyway, is everybody all right then? Welcome to the live. Thank you for the 8 likes. But yeah, I'll just give this a few more minutes. If nobody else joins, I'm probably just going to go and do other things. But yeah, I thought I'd just fire it up for a little bit and see who we get in here. Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering where you were, Susie, yeah. Sorry to hear about that. What's going on? Why are people poorly lately? I don't really get it. And this weather shouldn't be really poorly season, but anyway. But sorry to hear about that, yeah. I was hearing a lot of people. Hello, Malachi. How you doing? I hope you're well. I've been hearing a lot of people getting sick lately. What's going on? Like, I thought cold and flu season's well past. at this point, but whatever's going on, whatever it is, but yeah. Anyway, is everybody doing alright then? Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, there's been just not that much going on lately. Yeah, what's going on? Like people getting ill or something. But yeah, that's not good, is it? So I've been on this astaxanthin for a few weeks now, and normally by about this time I'd probably start to get a bit of a hay fever flare up, but that doesn't seem to be happening, at least not to any kind of really significant degree anyway. Okay, thank you, Taylor Lee. Thank you very much. So welcome in. So yeah, the astaxanthin stuff I've been taking, it seems to be, to improve my skin. I do feel better for taking it, and I think it may have some potentially a protective effect against hay fever, potentially. Tiffany, I'm doing fine, thank you. How you doing? I hope you're well. So yeah, it seems to be have some effect against hay fever. At least it's possible anyway. Thank you, Talia. Yeah, where are you from, by the way? Anyway, yeah. So basically, yeah, this astaxanthin is not massive. It's a very powerful antioxidant, but you have to be careful before taking it because some people will, potentially have some side effects from taking it, especially if they're on certain medication. You want to just really make sure that it's not going to interact with any medication you take, like blood thinners, blood pressure medication, that kind of stuff. Yeah, not meant to be as hot tomorrow here, but Monday is supposed to be the hottest day. Anyway, I'll do a magic trick. Watch this. Got a coin in my hand. Watch this. I'm going to grab it. This hand. And it disappears. So to do that trick is very simple. You hold it in this hand, like that, in this grip. As you're about to grab it, whatever whether do that grab it, in what they call them, quotation marks, right? When you're going to pretend to grab it, like you're going to do this, you're actually going to drop the coin at the same time. So it looks as though you're grabbing the coin. So it's an illusion. Yeah. It's not meant to be quite as hot tomorrow, but Sunday is supposed to be pretty hot, and then Monday is supposed to be the hottest day, but tomorrow is said to be cooler. Like it says 27 today here, then 23 tomorrow, then 27 Sunday, and 32 Monday. Goodness, 32 Monday is like, that's brutal. What the hell is going on with this weather? Something's going on. Now, I'm not totally into the whole climate change thing, but there's something going on. Like, this is not normal for May. This is not normal weather. And it's been happening quite a lot recently. It's weird. Like, it should not... The UK is not meant to be a hot country, really. It has the odd hot summer, but, like, it doesn't normally get like this. I mean, throughout history, there's not really been much going on like that, so... Yeah, I think it's a bit warmer over this side, to be fair, but even where I used to live, let's say Blackburn, not quite as hot over there, but they are supposed to be getting 29 degrees on Monday and Tuesday, so yeah, it's not quite as hot as it has been here, but looks like they're still getting some hot weather as well. But for like May time, we're still in May, so we're not even really in summer yet. This is end of spring, by the way. And we're supposed to be getting 30 plus degrees on Monday here in York. What the hell is going on with that? That is weird. I've never known anything like it. I've known it to get up into like the 20s in like even April, but like, I mean, to be getting over 30 degrees end of May, that is almost unheard of in this country. Unless you're like London. London might be a bit warmer, but yeah, that is a bit of a strange one. Oh, where are you going on holiday, Tiffany? Reminds you of that song, innit? Breakfast at Tiffany's. You know that one, right? Breakfast at Tiffany's. What's that? London? No. Is it you on about London? No. Anyway, is everybody doing all right then? Welcome to the live. Yeah. So yeah, is everybody all right? I thought I'd change the question on the screen, see how that goes. But Angel, okay, what are you saying? Okay, thank you, Angel. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, thank you for the likes, everyone. We got 13 likes on the live. Let's keep it going up. But yeah, it's gotten a bit cool now. At least we're not gonna have like red hot nights though, so that's good. Because yeah, the worst thing about hot weather is the nights, and if it's like really a lot of like hot nights and stuff. I remember there was a time where it was like 20 plus degrees, and this was like midnight, and it was absolutely awful. Hi, whoever this is. Okay, Angel, thank you. It's going to be absolutely awful if it's like that, but yeah, you just have to learn to try and deal with it. But I think your body does adapt to it. I've noticed that after a bit, you're acclimatized to the heat. But the problem with this country is that you can have one hot day, and then it goes back to being cold again. It's like, what the hell? How can your body acclimatize to that, you know? But anyway, yeah. Okay, thank you, Angel. It's just your body can't acclimatize to it if it's not a consistent weather. Whereas some countries they have a more consistent weather, like especially like say tropics or something like that, where okay, thank you, Davu to Bill, however you pronounce that. Anyway, so yeah, we got 10 people in the building. Yeah, weather is all over the place. You never know what to wear. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I suppose you can always like try and wear different clothes, but it's like, but it's like it can be like summertime, and then like you don't know if it's gonna be like red hot or whatever, and yeah. Hello, XXX, how you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for the 13 likes. Yeah, is everybody doing all right then? Welcome to the live stream. So apparently quite a few people want me to fail. Well, you know, and basically, well, whatever. Anyway, Davu to Bill. How's it going? About 14 people in the building. Oh, it's building up now, so. Luck is real. Yeah. I mean, what you mean, luck is real? I'd say that you create your own luck in this life to a large degree anyway. Though Jazz K, sometimes luck is just random, but I think you do create your own ideal circumstances by the right mindset and things like that, really. That if you have a positive outlook, then you're more likely to have a positive outcome. So, Kevin, weather in Philly is also strange. Hi from Philly. Yeah, how you doing, Kevin? Hello, Frankie. How you doing? Pause for, or really, maybe. Depends what you want to believe, but anyway. Hope you're all doing well tonight anyway. Okay, Angel, whatever you want to believe, you know? Everyone's entitled to their own beliefs, aren't they? But yeah, I personally will disagree and say that I don't believe in any particular religion. But I would just say that I don't believe that it's Jesus that's helping me. I just think that it's, you know, a point of view, changing your point of view on things, changing your outlook, and, you know, basically your subconscious will respond to that. Now, you could argue that the subconscious is God in a sense that dictates your reality. It depends on what, everyone's got their own interpretation of what God is. Some people even say consciousness is God, but mass consciousness or collective consciousness, but I don't believe that there's something external that's coming to save me or whatever. Okay, thank you, Devuti Bill. I don't think there's something external to me that's going to just magically come and save my ass, you know? I don't see that. Okay, take care. Have a good one. Hello, Lily. How you doing? Hello, Arith. Ari thrash metal. Are you into thrash metal? Oh, cool. Yeah. What's your favorite thrash metal band then? Yeah, I've listened to a bit of that. It's actually. Oh yeah. Thank you for subbing. Yeah, I do have plans for the weekend. I'm going away and back to where I used to live, that area. Um, hello, was that so? Sorry, how you pronounce that, but welcome in anyway. So yeah, I'm going over to Darwin. I'm basically going to be going to it. There's like this music festival thing going on. Going to that, and yeah, there's like a different bands playing, different venues playing. I'm going to be probably meeting my mate there. My mum should hopefully be coming down if she's feeling up for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing them all. But yeah, it'll be good. Thank you, Frankie. Yeah, it should be good. But I don't normally go to stuff like this, but it's a more open type of event rather than some big, massive festival that's closed off. I wouldn't like that. Like, people said, "Oh, you should go download or whatever." It's like I just don't want to be going to these kind of enclosed kind of ones where you stay for a whole weekend and there's like thousands upon thousands of people there. I just couldn't be doing with that, you know. Hello, Mohammed, how you doing? I hope you're well. But this is a bit different. It's like doesn't feel like that. It's pretty open. It's a free festival as well, so it's you can just leave. You can come back whenever you want. So you don't feel like you're trapped in the place, because I couldn't be doing with stuff like that, you know. Yeah, it'd be good weather. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, open air festivals. Yeah, I couldn't be doing with that kind of thing where they're all just camping out there and in each other's like feces and like what the hell? It's just I don't know. You get all these. I don't know. Yeah, dude. Actually, Lucas. Yeah, dude. Jim. Yes. Me neither. Yeah. Okay. Haters have no power above you. I know. We just gotta keep going, haven't we? Just gotta keep on persisting. Persist with your dreams and all that. And I voted yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is what we're gonna try and do going forward. Is to try and just keep the positivity. But you're always gonna get people like that. But yeah, I had some comment on a video saying, "Oh, I've started doing 1,000 push-ups a day, and maybe you should try it." It's like, well, everybody's different, and whether this person does or doesn't do it, I don't know. But even if they do it, I think you gotta understand that everyone's different. I'm the tall person, right? A big person. I don't think I could manage 1,000 push-ups a day. Like, some people can make that stuff look easy. Some people can do thousands of push-ups every day, but everyone's different, Everyone's built differently. That's where it gets kind of annoying. Okay, thank you, Abdul. Snow White, how you doing? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the likes, everyone. I got 17 likes on the live. So, yeah, I was getting a bit fed up of it all and just all these idiots that would keep showing up and, you get all these trolls and whatever. Money blocks, how you doing? I say good stuff to small creators, thank you. As long as you actually mean it, because sometimes people will just try and blow smoke up people's ass just to make them feel good, but they don't actually really like them, which I think is just very insincere. And yeah, it's okay, Snow White. I've not really been doing as many lately anyway, but yeah. Abdul says, "Hey, have you been to Egypt?" No, I haven't. Oh yeah, hello, Clyde. Not seen you for a bit. I was just thinking about you before because I was like, oh, I've not seen you for a while. What's this? Called fries called chips in England. Fish and chips means fish and fries, doesn't it? Yes, that's right. Mitchell, how you doing? There you go. There's the Donald Trump. That's the only time I'm doing Donald Trump tonight. Hope you're having a good time. Yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm doing fine, thanks. It's just been a bit hot today, so but we'll just get used to it, yeah. Tiffany says hi, welcome back. Brooke, how you doing tonight? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Nice to see you all in here. Fries in England are just thin chips. Yeah, basically, yeah. Basically. Fish and chips says hi again. Hi. Yeah, welcome in. Yeah, in America, well, you've got different types of fries. You've got curly fries as well. Aren't curly fries a bit thicker? I don't know. I know they have their curly fries, don't they, in America? Curly fries? Or they might be about the same, but they're just curly. Yeah, curly fries. Anyway. Okay, Davuta Bill. Thank you. Funny face. Hello, Jonlyn. How's it going? I hope you're well. Vic, how you doing? Welcome to the live. Thank you all for joining me. What's everybody been up to today then? Thanks for the 19 likes. Yeah. I'm going in a phone and voting yes again. Oh, really? Get curly fries here. Yeah, you can, but isn't it seen as more of like an American thing though? More of an American type of food, right? Oh, it's midnight. Yeah, it's like 12 minutes past 10 here in the UK, but yeah. What's everyone's plans for this weekend then? Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, any plans for the weekend, everybody? Yeah, I'm going to see some people at this festival. Anyway, but yeah, I've kind of just got to a point of just letting go of things, just be like, if it does grow and whatever, if it doesn't, then so be it, you know. But I'm trying to stay hopeful though and try and be optimistic. But yeah, but you have to be real. You have to be realistic. You have to be like, okay, well, what can realistically happen with the amount of input that I do? All right, Jaden, how you doing? Oh, you at work the weekend? Oh no. Oh yeah, because you've been off for so long, so you have to like try and make up for that or something. Yeah. Tater tots. I don't know about that. Tater tots. Yeah. We don't have Twinkies here, do we? I don't think. Oh, that's a big thing in America, like, isn't it? Twinkies. Anyway. Yeah. Well, thank you, Davuta Bill, but unfortunately, though, when you show any kind of vulnerability or anything like that, sometimes people can try and use that to try and get at you and whatever, and just hello, Cat and Jack. Good to see you, Cat. How you doing? Oh yeah, Yogi will be on shortly, won't he? But sometimes people will, when someone just shows how they're actually feeling, and then they're like, so you'll get some people that are like really nasty who will use it against you. But it's good when you've got people that are supportive. So even if there is all those negative people, it still might be worth it in some way. Chris Ward, how you doing? Welcome to the live. Hope you're well tonight. Thanks for joining me. What's everybody been up to today then? You had a good day then? Welcome in. All right, 23 likes now. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. So I might try and go live tomorrow, like while I'm walking to the place, maybe something like that. Like, see if I can get any signal. Hopefully, I will be able to. But yeah, that's before I meet up with people, I'll probably just walk down to it. Yeah, 75%. So you've got to focus on the positive, haven't you, basically, right? That, yeah, hello, Isan, how you doing? Hope you're well. Even if 25%, yeah, they want you to fail, but then 75% want you to succeed. So that's good numbers. It's a whole optimistic thing of like, focus on the positive, not on all the negative, right? Because even if you, because sometimes the negative can be seen as a positive as well, because depending on how we look at it, because those 24% could actually just be themselves kind of projecting because they're actually they want to succeed themselves, but they're not happy with where they're at, right? So anyway, yeah, that's the positive. You know, it's like if I'm not positive, then there's no point in me coming on here, is there? You know, is what I'm thinking, right? Because all that's going to do is just make me worse. Because then you're going to have all these negative people just try and bring me down even more. So if I'm ever having a negative time, it's probably best to just have some time out just for myself and just try and not expose myself to drama and chaos because they tend to thrive when I'm in that kind of state. So best to just sort of, yeah, know when to come on and when not to come on and not try and force it for the sake of trying to grow the channel because ultimately that's just going to burn me out because it's just, you can't, it's not sustainable, that is it, you know, when you're just going on all the time, even when you're feeling like, you know, you probably shouldn't be coming on. Yeah, hopefully we can one day get 100% on it, but you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? Eliminate stressors. Yeah, definitely. Barry, I'm doing fine, thank you. How you doing? I'm reading the Divine Comedy to find out whether any sections of the Inferno are comparable to my successors. What do you mean? Section of the Inferno? What are you talking about? Yeah, rude people. You know, they're just, you know what I mean? Just negative people at the end of the day. That's not my problem, though, is it? You know, if they're negative, then that's their own issue. They need to sort that out, basically. Or you're an omega male. You know, there's that whole alpha male. Some say that whole term is actually kind of fallacious or something. The whole term of alpha male. I remember someone was explaining how that whole word doesn't even make any sense. But hello, Carrie King. How you doing? I hope you're well. Oh, yeah, happy birthday to M. Is it? Yeah. So anyway, thanks for the 27 likes. Nice one, people. Wydell369 says anyway. Anyway, what? All right. So a drink. But yeah, you appreciate water more in this weather, don't you? Yeah, I don't know why they would do that. Just to be dicks is what they do. Anyway. Oh, okay. Okay, Clyde, yeah. Okay. Yeah, buddy, alright then. Drinking loads of water. I'm gonna get some more water. You've got to keep yourself hydrated, don't you, know? Because water, I think, I looked at this, that being dehydrated caused about a 50% increase in cortisol levels. Because high cortisol levels means high stress, so that can really wreak havoc on the body, so yeah. I don't know, it says 29% now, but that's a good one. What's that? I'm a very handsome man. Anyway. But yeah, I have been a little bit off lately but I didn't want to just try and force coming on all the time and stuff, but yeah, I did a workout at the gym the other day and it was the most brutal workout I've ever done. The most amount of pull-ups I've ever done in a session. I did loads of push-ups, squats. I also did some weights as well. It was just relentless. And I was just doing loads of sets and not really a lot of rest periods as well. So I'm working my cardiovascular system as well. So yeah. Hello, Laura. How you doing? Hope you're well. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I will succeed because I choose success. You get what you choose, what you believe to be true. This is the thing, what they call the law of assumption. Now, some people can say it's BS, but if you want something bad enough and you have that conviction and you believe it to be true bad enough, then at some point it's going to fall into place. But you have to be able to learn to have realistic expectations, but also learn to let go of outcome. Because the problem is that, if you get that's another reason why I just kind of wasn't coming on as much, because I just wanted to not be too attached to this thing, right? Just because the more attached you become, then the more you can end up feeling like, pressured to perform or whatever, to try and, be successful or whatever, but then that's just going to lead to burnout and just feelings of inauthenticity, so. VO2 max workout, what did you do on that one? Yeah, VO2 max. I've heard, there's this test thing that they use. Isn't it a thing where they put, a mask on them or something to test their VO2 max? But they do, VO2 max. I've always looked into, what is it? Like box breathing and stuff like that. Well, this doesn't necessarily improve VO2 max, but this actually might, in a way, potentially, indirectly, but it's said to help reduce the amount of breath that you need to take in, because especially at higher intensities, you're going to be breathing more heavily, which is going to take energy to do that. So if you can actually lessen the demand on doing that, then by increasing carbon tolerance, then you can actually be more efficient. So that's something that can potentially make you a better athlete, by increasing carbon tolerance. So yeah, I didn't use a mask. I eliminated my VO2 max zone as 115% of my FTP. What's FTP? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's do that, Let's be bigger than friggin' Mr. Beast, That's going to be a mammoth task, isn't it, Anyway. Well, the thing is, you've got, relative VO2 max, and then you've got absolute VO2 max. Because, for example, someone with more muscle mass might have a lower relative VO2 max, but a higher absolute VO2 max, because more muscle is going to probably increase the total amount of oxygen that your body can use, but it could arguably compromise the relative VO2 max. So yeah, this is why basically, say runners who do long distance would preferably have a more slender build rather than muscular. Yeah. Hello, faith in Christ. How you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Functional threshold power. You can measure it in cycling through a ramp test or multiplying your 20-minute max power by 95. Oh, really? Or hang on. Or 0.95. I know this is a little bit late. Thank you for being here. What you said about not being attached to the outcome, it's exactly what I really needed to hear. I'm really having a hard time with that. Oh, well, I appreciate that you got something out of that, but yeah. I don't exactly know what it is that you're talking about in particular, but yeah, this is the thing about. The thing is, in Buddhism, where they do talk about attachment being a big cause of suffering, I think there's a healthy form of attachment. I don't think you should be completely detached from something. Like, for example, like in a relationship, there's a healthy form of attachment. I think being completely detached is also not healthy, because then that means that you're probably someone who is just not really very invested. And yeah, so there's a sort of a balance that needs to happen, but it's when someone's so attached to the point where they feel like they cannot be without that person. You still have to have your interests and stuff. You still have to have your own personality, right? You cannot be fully kind of, attached to anything. You have to be someone who, that, if anything happened to that, because let's say if you lost somebody, whether it's a family member, a friend, whatever, right? That you're going to be fine, because you have other things that give you joy in life. It's not healthy to just have, to be able to depend on somebody for your happiness. I mean, yeah, somebody can make your life better, but then they also need to like be able to accept that sometimes things are not permanent, and that's okay. Intermittent fasting, yeah, my mum's been doing that actually. Hello, Amelia, how you doing? It's not my birthday. It's impossible to hold on to anything forever. Attachment is futile. I mean, I would say that it depends on what you mean by attachment. Again, I guess it gets down to semantics and stuff, but I think there's a healthy form of attachment. But yeah, that's the thing. It's let me just kind of find that something on that. No, it's not my birthday. Doesn't it slow down metabolism? I don't know. I think that if you can keep calories down below maintenance, then does it really matter? If it helps with diet adherence, then I would argue that it can work. Anyway, let's have a look. Like, as long as you're still getting the same amount of calories, whether you're doing intermittent fasting or whether you're doing spacing your meals out and whatever, and I don't know, there's so yeah. Anyway, is everybody all right? Thank you for the 29 likes. See, it's like basically this idea of, a deep, secure emotional bond characterized by safety, trust, and mutual respect, where both individuals feel valued whilst maintaining their independent identities. In psychology, this is often referred to as a secure attachment style, which forms the foundation for fulfilling low anxiety relationships. Yeah, suffering comes when the outcome is not what I want or what I think I want. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Of being attached to an outcome is probably not a good idea. Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say crash diets are good, but if you're, let's say, having a few hundred calories below maintenance, whether it's through exercise or through, kind of just eating less, that's still a calorie deficit at the end of the day. So, yeah. Richard, that's kind of slowed down, but yeah, I've not really been coming on as much lately, so but yeah, it might, I guess, but Sid might say it's better to try and focus on increasing your step counts and stuff. I guess it depends. If you're somebody that already is moving around a lot, but it's your diet that's the issue, then maybe like restricting your calories is maybe better in that scenario, right? You've got to do what you got to do, right? But I'm no expert on this, so I'm just, yeah, I'm not a, you know, what you're in about. So, but yeah, it's just kind of stagnated, but hopefully it's just a phase. But anyway, thank you. Crack shot. Hello, how you doing? So basically, mutual trust, believing in your partner's reliability, honesty, and emotional availability. Open communication, expressing your needs, fears, and feelings honestly without fear of judgment or rejection. Healthy boundaries, respecting each other's privacy, personal space, individual hobbies, and friendships. Emotional regulation, navigating conflicts calmly and constructively rather than reacting with extreme anxiety or anger. Interdependence, balancing a strong connection together with individual autonomy, avoiding codependency. So, yes, the codependency is where it becomes problematic. But I was just saying about if you're trying to lose weight, then basically you would be, let's say you kept the calories the same, but you burnt more through exercise, then you could lose weight that way. But you could say that is a form of calorie restriction, but you have to be in a deficit in order to lose weight, right? Calories in versus calories out. It's, is it second law of thermodynamics, But so whether you burn more through moving around or but for some people, if they've got a lot of stress going on in their life and they're moving around, they're doing a lot of working and stuff, and it's their diet that needs to be fixed, then they have to restrict their calories, Like, what else are they supposed to do? Yeah, it might slow their metabolism down, but maybe that's a good thing, Like, it helps if the restriction helps them to lose weight, then actually it's probably better that we have a somewhat slow metabolism, arguably, for longevity. Well, everyone's looking to speed up their metabolism, but then beyond a certain point, then a fast metabolism might be a lot of stress on the body, actually. Yeah. What if you use body fat and carbohydrate calories during a workout, but only replace the carbohydrates and protein lost? I don't know about that. I mean, there is the whole argument about carbohydrates don't really store as fat very much, but you'd still want to probably take in some like essential fats, right? Like omega-3s and stuff like that. So, I guess it comes down to quality of fats, Like if you can cut out most of the omega-6s, perhaps. I don't know, but so what you're saying that you would be using your own body's fat to then kind of, it would eat that, and then, but the protein and carbs, but because they were saying with carbs that they don't really store as fat very easily, because about a quarter of the energy from carbohydrates actually it takes to actually convert into fatty acids. So it's a very calorically expensive process. And I've heard that, I don't know how true this is, but a lot of carbs that don't get burnt up for like energy use end up, in some cases, being burnt as like kind of just heat, basically. It doesn't, sort of store. There's like only a certain amount of carbs that can store in your body at any given time. So they were saying how excess carbs would not tend to store as fat unless there's way too many of them. I don't know. What's that? Yes, the body stores carbohydrates in the muscles and liver. Excess dietary carbohydrates tend to body fat insufficiently, with about 30% of the excess burnt in the conversion process. Yeah, I mean, hello Beverly, how you doing? I hope you're well. Okay, take care, Richard. See you later. Hello, Ian. Hope you're well. So, does the body turn carbs into fat or burn them? I guess it depends if it goes beyond a certain threshold or something. So like basically, it's called thermogenesis or something, I think is the word. But basically it's creating heat in the body. So let's have a look. Not used as calories, but thermogenesis. I remember hearing something about this, but what's it called? De novo lipogenesis. Is that where it turns to fat or something? It says they're not stored or used for baseline calories or actively burnt off as heat through a process called diet-induced thermogenesis, DIT. When you severely overeat carbohydrates, your body does not immediately turn them into body fat. Instead, it aggressively forces your metabolism to heat up, literally wasting the excess energy as pure heat to protect your body against sudden fat gain. So, yeah, there you go. I guess maybe in a way it's actually easier for the body to do that than to have to strain itself with extra fat gain, basically. So, yeah. Have you seen that guy called Snake Diet? Because he just seems to keep changing his mind every week in terms of the best food. It seems like he's kind of getting it a bit, but then it's like, yeah. But the thing is, at one point he used to be very much like a keto pusher, and yes, the conversion of carbs to fat is de novo lipogenesis. Also, like you said, the body's metabolism speeds up too, which also burns off excess carbs. Yeah, so I guess it only turns to fat if it exceeds a certain amount, right? Maybe that's what happens or something. If it exceeds a certain level of is this why I can just like eat so much food? Is that what happens is my body burns the fats off whilst doing, say, like walking and stuff like that. So the dietary fats get burnt off, like first. I'll burn off some fats, a few of the carbs, then excess carbs oftentimes might get sort of just kind of used up as like heat or whatever, like I said. So yeah, Snake Diet. Yeah, he was like this crazy guy who's like, "Stop eating, fatty." You know, he'll just like have these like rants on his videos. It's just hilarious. But yeah, yeah, the guy's crazy. But yeah, but he used to be pushing the whole keto diet, but then he's recently then switched up to high carb diet. Now he's saying high protein. I do think protein's good as well, because again, that's another one. Protein is even harder to turn into fat, because your body then has to turn protein into amino acids. Then to turn the amino acids into fat would be a whole lengthy process, which would just be very, very unlikely. Keto crank so diamond doesn't. Yeah, there's a lot of keto pushers, but the problem I find with that kind of diet is that, you know, the thing is, a lot of these foods are probably going to be very, very high in calories because, well, fat is very high in calories compared to carbs. In fact, it's actually got more calories than carbs and protein put together. So it's actually more calories than alcohol, and that's saying something. So yeah, so if you're eating a lot of high calorie foods, like you know, if you're eating, say, like the fatty cuts of meat, for example, and you can down a lot of that, right? Fatty cuts of bacon and stuff like that. I can't see that really being very good, but I don't know. Maybe what happens, I think, with a lot of people is they lose a little bit of weight and they think that it's working, but in a lot of cases, they're losing water weight from losing glycogen. Okay, take care, Cat and Jack. So yeah, protein is for like building muscles. It's for building cartilage, building things like connective tissues. Skin is made of protein. All those kinds of things, right? Collagen. Collagen is the most common protein in the body. So yeah, so that's what protein's for. The body doesn't really want to use protein for, you know, energy. I wouldn't really think of it like a calorie, but yeah, some people would include it as a calorie, but it's very inefficient, I believe, as a calorie. Yeah, we're on, was it 31% now, apparently. So cells are made with proteins, yeah. But I don't really see them as calories as such because, yeah, technically there's calories in them, but like it can be turned into calories, like can be turned in like gluconeogenesis, but how efficient is gluconeogenesis? You know? Gluconeogenesis. Hi, Boiling Frog. How you doing? Hope you're well. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your support. Yes, protein is not a good source of energy. Carbs are better for athletic performance as an energy source, and carbs don't create the metabolic waste that protein does as a fuel source. Yeah. I would say fats are good for sustained energy, but yeah. Yeah, salad occasionally, but yeah. Mary Grace, how you doing? Hope you're well. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the support. So this is what it says about you know, the energy cost, right? In terms of from what is it? The calories contained in protein, basically about 20 to 30% is lost. So you know when they talk about like 4 calories per gram, is that before taking into account the thermic index? Hello, Javid. How you doing? What do you mean? Yeah. So the 4 calories per gram standard for carbohydrates and proteins is calculated before taking into account the thermic effect of food. The numbers you see on nutrition labels are based on the ACT's water system, which only accounts for how well your body digests and absorbs the food. It does not deduct the energy your body must immediately burn as heat to produce those nutrients. Yeah, so protein is about 20 to 30%. So you could eat more protein if you're trying to lose weight because of the extra calorie burn just through as long as you don't eat too much to a point where you feel tired, which would defeat the whole purpose of it. Yeah. All right, crack shot. Yeah. First, fat's a suitable energy source for moderate the difficult activities, but even skinny World Tour cycling riders have more body fat than they can use on a single stage. Hang on. They use on a stage, what you're saying. But even skinny World Tour cycling riders have more body fat than they could use on a. Yeah. So what you're saying is that they burn body fat. Is that what you're saying, that they're burning their own body fat stores? They've become basically like keto adapted or whatever you call it. Like they've become sort of adapted to being able to burn their own body fat as an energy source. They have to be able to like do like some kind of like, well, not ketosis fully, but they can do like a hybrid sort of system where they can burn both body fat and glycogen at the same time. Ideally, you want to be able to be good at both if you like, because you would need the glycogen for bursts of energy, like when you're going above a certain threshold, like once you're going up into about zone 3, zone 4. Zone 2, it's almost all, that's why they call it the fat burning zone, zone 2, because it's almost all fat that you're burning. So yes, they're always burning body fat. They have high VO2 maxes, so their bodies can burn fat even when pushing high power. Yeah, that's true. In fact, this astaxanthin thing that I've started, it's said to basically help your body to burn more fat. So, which is going to allow your body to like be burning fat even at a higher intensity. So, because the problem is that the body would switch to burning carbs sooner. So yeah. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the live stream, everybody. I hope you're doing well. So we're on 34 likes right now. Thank you for everybody. But yeah, we just want to. But yeah, it's like make sure that we're. But yeah, what you're saying about the whole calories thing. But yeah, it's not as simple as the whole calories in, calories out thing. But yeah. So what you're saying to do is to like increase carbohydrates, primarily carbohydrates, moderate protein, and kind of moderate fats, basically, not too much fats, because then that's going to kind of then lead to more fat gain. I'm wondering if this technique could actually be used to help with like body reposition, or whether the body needs to have a surplus, because they talk about like how it only works for like noobs who are trying to improve body composition. Let's say you're going from like 30%, 25% body fat and you're trying to lower it a bit, and then you're also trying to build muscle at the same time. Some people have been able to do that, but if you're going down in body fat and then your body doesn't really want to be being in a deficit, but what you're saying is that you could be in basically an exact amount of calories, well, not the exact amount of calories, but like your body would just essentially burn off the excess as heat. So you wouldn't actually store any extra body fat than you need to. And yeah, it would just kind of, anyway. Hello, Biola Costa, Gupta, how's it going? Yeah, leafy greens are good, yeah. I should eat more of those actually, but I don't really have one for body fat, but I can sort of just look over time, kind of compare different photos, things like that, and see how it's kind of tracking. But I think that all of the walking around that I do, that seems to be preventing excess body fat accumulation. Because like when you're walking, that's going to be almost entirely fat, that you're burning at that point. So if I can burn through the fat stores like almost instantly, then any carbohydrates that don't get burned, most of them are just going to end up being used up as fuel sort of thing. But yeah, so I don't know whether I should like cut the fats down a little bit and then just, I don't know, but I do just find that it's just an easier way to get the calories in that I need though. So 50% fat. I don't know. I thought it was mostly fat burning at that zone. I could be wrong, but let's have a look. Zone 1 and Zone 2. Let's have a look. But I tend to walk at least 10,000 steps a day. I probably walked today about 15, 20,000 steps, but it does walking primarily burn fat. Radium. All right. Oh, really? That's not good, is it? Anyway, so yeah. So this is the thing, right? When you walk at a comfortable low intensity pace, your body is operating fully within its aerobic zone, meaning it has plenty of oxygen available to break down fat molecules for energy. Oh, really, Boiling for close serenity? Yeah, I think so. The body constantly uses a mix of both carbohydrates and fats for energy, but the ratio shifts drastically based on how hard your heart is pumping. So yeah, 60 to 70% fat. So it's mostly fat at that zone. And then it's about 66% at the fat burning zone, which is Zone 2. And then running at high intensity, say like, is 40%. But yeah, mostly fat at the lower. But yeah, we said 50-50, but yeah, it's kind of like semantics, but yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, not many people can run at like 17, 18 miles per hour. I mean, most people are out of shape for a start, so they're going to struggle. They're not really fit, most people, I would argue. So this is the thing about the diet-induced thermogenesis. So this is what it says. Walking allows you to conserve your precious liver and muscle glycogen stores, meaning you can sustain the activity for hours without hitting a sudden energy crash. The post-walk effect: if you consume carbohydrates after a long walk, those carbohydrates are likely to be stored safely as glycogen or dissipated as diet-induced thermogenesis, heat, rather than converted into fat, because your baseline movement keeps your metabolism highly active. So there you go. So all these people trying to like demonize carbs, but when you actually look into it, maybe there's actually something to it. That actually a high carb diet that's actually good. That can actually potentially help people. Maybe maybe there is truth to that whole kind of freely diet, whatever, the whole loads of bananas and stuff like that, right? I can't see eating tons of bananas as, I mean, yeah, there has been people who've had water retention and stuff from having loads of watermelons and things, but as long as you're not eating too much really, really high water content foods, I don't think there's any much to worry about in my opinion. But yeah, hello Cinnamon, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. What are you saying? You don't heal when you sleep unless you have a EMF bed camping. What you mean? Don't know what you mean. Anyway. I don't know, but yeah. Oh yeah, 50 million bananas, really? Yeah, I've heard about radioactive bananas or something. Yeah, they believe carbs cause diabetes when it's actually dietary fat causes diabetes. Yeah, I've heard about that actually. I was looking into visceral fat the other day, and I saw something about people who are active, even if they have like a somewhat higher level of body fat, they might have less visceral fat. And this might be to do with how the body changes how the body stores fat or something. I'm not actually sure about this, but I've also heard that muscle mass might actually help with this as well by basically having this kind of engine as a thing where your body can like dump glucose and stuff and energy into it. So, but I don't know. I'm not really explaining this very well, but basically that's what I was looking into anyway. That there does seem to be some benefit to exercise in terms of lowering visceral fat. So even guys are at say 25-30% body fat, but yet they might have better visceral fat than some guys that are like really skinny, you know? So there might be something to that, but I would still say that it's probably not the best to be at super high body fat because it's non-functional tissue and it can get in the way of, in a lot of ways. So yeah, it might help you have leverages on certain lifts, but is it really worth it? Anyway, hello Naveen, how you doing? Olby, how you doing? Yeah, well, 180 pounds. It's a bit on the light side for 6'5", actually, but yeah, if you've got abs, then you're obviously you must have a like pretty good metabolism, I'm assuming, but keep clean until mid-70s when the agenda was underway, right? Okay. Hello, Shania. How you doing? I hope you're well. But yeah, I mean, 180 pounds. If you're happy with how you look, then who's to say? Depends on what you're going for, really. But yeah, like if you want to be like a long distance runner, that's probably about right at that height, anyway. Oh yeah. We are doomed as a society, you know. I'm talking like Jordan Peterson, you know. Society is doomed. They want us to eat their slop, you know. We should all be eating. What is it? We should all be eating beef and salt, you know. Huh. Did you see my Keir Starmer impression? Huh. I started. What you say? Stacking last week. All right. Corned beef. All right. Corned beef, you know. All these people eating their like soy slop, you know. Who's that, Obi? Obi-Wan. Anyway. Thank you for the 37 likes. Anyway. Corned beef. Alright. So just have a look at this, right? So this is what it says. Your skeletal muscles are only about 20 to 25% efficient at turning chemical energy from fat and glucose into actual physical movement. The remaining 75 to 80% of that energy is completely lost as heat. So, well, it says upgrading to non-shivering heat. Tying back to how your body what's this? Yeah. Fat burning walking provide. So hang on, let's have a look at this. About like carbs basically, and the effect on thermogenesis. So what's that? I don't know. Raoul, I've heard of him, but who was that again? Wasn't that a politician or something? Anyway. I crossed the line with the female all my life. Totally disrespected my wife. I thought I'll overcome that kind of behavior. I feel okay through all the work I've done on myself. Sorry to hear about that, but at least you're kind of, you're not like just going to be like, the thing is, at least you're showing some kind of responsibility. So that's one thing, because some people don't even do that. So you've got to try and just at least you feel like you've done something wrong, and you can kind of try to, if you can't fix it this time, at least you can learn from that, Because some people just have no like self-awareness whatsoever, and they just unwilling to like humble themselves or anything. But yeah, so this is what it says. So a Yoda, Empire Strikes Back. Oh really, Yoda? Well, it's supposed to sound a bit like Kermit the Frog, isn't it? Kermit the Frog, So just having a look at this. So these are a combination of carbohydrate surpluses, thermogenesis, walking, and metabolic inefficiency to build muscle without gaining fat. You are looking at a highly optimized strategy known as a clean bulk or lean gains. By understanding exactly how your body processes nutrients, you can force the extra calories into muscle synthesis while wasting the surplus as heat. To gain muscle, your body requires a caloric surplus. However, you can manipulate what kind of calories you overeat to maximize diet-induced thermogenesis and prevent fat storage. The massive protein buffer: eat 2 to 2.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. By overeating protein, you force your body into the highly inefficient process of gluconeogenesis. It will burn up to 30% of those extra calories as pure heat, just trying to process them, ensuring the surplus doesn't easily convert to body fat. Targeted carb surplus: eat a high carbohydrate diet, but time the surplus exclusively around your workouts. This ensures the glucose fills your muscle glycogen tanks first. Any extreme excess will trigger luxurious energy expenditure, ramping up your metabolic rate and wasting the rest as heat rather than fat. So yeah, anyway, what are you saying? Yes, gluconeogenesis also creates metabolic waste and dehydration. Oh yeah, you've got to be careful about that then, haven't you? You don't want to end up with dehydration then. So what you're saying, that like you don't want to be eating too much protein, is that what you're saying? Because there's this whole obsession with protein, so maybe having too much might not be good either, and it can also strain your digestive system and can actually make it harder to try and eat enough food, basically. So in some cases, if you're trying to like do a lot of working out and things, whether that's cardio, whether that's resistance training, if you're burning a lot of calories through that, then so it says here about what's it? Keep dietary fat low to moderate. Keep your dietary fat intake tightly controlled around 0.5 to 0.8 gram per kilogram, since dietary fat has a near zero thermic index and any excess fat you eat stored effortlessly is as body fat. But if you can actually burn off that extra body fat, then yeah. So there might be a way to kind of do this where you would burn body fat and so let's say you have some fat source, like like during the day or whatever. You go for a walk. Yeah, before that you have some fat. Hello, Gilberto, Lewis, how you doing? Then you would have like say your carbs before a workout. So then any excess carbs that are left in, they're just going to get burned through a process of thermogenesis. The body just basically producing heat. They're actually just wasted as heat, apparently. I don't know if it goes beyond a certain threshold or something, but what's that? Yes, most people eat way more than what their body needs. There's a train road video that showed the results of a study which showed that when carbs are restricted while eating the same amount of protein, that the high carb group ate the low carb group lost muscle mass. Yeah, I heard about that. The low carbs can potentially cause loss of muscle mass. Is that due to a lack of glycogen because muscles need glycogen? So is it possible that they lost mass because of they weren't filled up as much with glycogen, so that caused them to shrink a little bit? Or was there any other loss as well due to inefficiency because their muscles couldn't work properly because they didn't have the carbs to fuel them as well? So hello Bradley, how you doing? I hope you're well. Gilberto, what's okay? People don't realize that carb restriction can cause muscle mass loss because the body then uses protein as a fuel source instead of using it for protein specific functions. Yeah, well, there is that. Like if you're trying to force your body into like kind of using basically if you start to adapt to being able to like cause gluconeogenesis, like with the carnivore diet, for example, then why not just eat the carbs? Why are you kind of eating a less efficient energy source? And I think I was talking about this with someone that said that they'd tried a carnivore diet or something, and like, but some people say that they have some benefits from the carnivore diet, but then again, I haven't looked at what their diet is. There was someone on my Facebook that was saying that they'd tried a plant-based diet and that didn't work for them, and they had all these issues, and then they've gone on carnivore diet, and now all their issues have gone away or something. But I don't know. I don't really know if like they did everything that they possibly could to. I don't know. It could just be one of those things, and I know there's people who said they've got things like autoimmune disease, for example, and that they went on the carnivore diet and they said that they'd improved that. But I don't think the carnivore diet is for most people, though, and I think it's a bit of a nonsensical diet, and it kind of goes against the human anatomy, which is probably somewhere between kind of. I'd say it's like frugivorous omnivore, but like we can still be kind of healthy, I would argue, without meat, as long as you plan it properly. But yeah. Yeah. So like, anyway, but yeah, I saw this thing somewhere that diet was supposed to be something around 50% fruit, about 40% vegetables, and about 10% like nuts and seeds and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is, but That's actually kind of similar to like apes and stuff. If you look at their diet, well, they do have some like insects sometimes as well, but usually about 5% of the diet, so not that much in the grand scheme of things. But yeah. Oh, Jack, how you doing? Really? Oh, Yaz, don't think so. Yeah, why they vote him for me to fail, I don't know. Probably because they're all losers themselves, that's what it is. You know, if they want to be all negative and whatever, then that's their problem, isn't it, at the end of the day? 66% now, yeah, it's going down, whatever, 67% it says on my end. What's that? You know what's that? So yeah, so anyway. So it's like, at what point does like, yeah, at what point does the body use lipogenesis? I eat bananas, potatoes, rice, pastas, and split peas, red lentils, sweet potatoes, green leafy vegetables, noodles, and other fruits mostly. Yeah, dates. Yeah, dates are a good one. They're a good one for like, yeah, like you were saying about like if you go on a bike ride, say, because a lot of people like to have bananas, but they're like a denser source of carbs. Like any dried fruit like that, you know, like even things like raisins, sultanas, dried apricots, that kind of stuff. Those are good for like quick carbs, basically. But yeah, yeah. Hello, Andrea. How you doing? Just talk about diet and stuff at the moment, and how carbs get demonized, even though they might actually be the thing that could actually help people to get in shape. And I think there is some truth to fat makes you fat, because that's literally the thing that's, you know, that's making people fat, right? It doesn't make sense that like something that's inefficient as like carbs would, if you eat loads of those, it's usually because people mix carbs and fats together. Like if you're putting a bunch of sugar on a bunch of fat, then that can make it more addictive and make you want to overeat it more, right? Hello, Tim. How you doing? That is what the problems are. Is that people will try and, you know, flavor these fat sources to make them more addictive, you know, but is it the carbs' fault? It's the type of carbs they're eating, the addictive ones. Yeah. You seem to be eating a lot of carbs and sugar. What are you on about? You eat loads of. Are you eating all those cakes and stuff that you're baking, or what? Or do you just? Were you always giving cakes away or something? What? Sorry, what are you saying, Arf? Oh yeah, we're on 43 likes now. Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you. How you doing? Yeah, the most amount of likes I've ever had on here is like 200 and just over 200. People at downstairs consider stuff like ice cream, pizza, Snickers bars, and other food stuff that are 50% plus fat as high carb. Yeah, I know. Yeah, in terms of actual caloric content, it's probably mostly fat, a lot of it. You know, they've got a lot of cream in it, lots of fats. So this is what we'll say, basically, the conversion of non-fat nutrients into fat molecules at the exact point when carbohydrate energy intake exceeds your total daily energy expenditure and your glycogen storage tanks are completely saturated. But I did talk about how, you know, like, well, it says something about fructose or something on here, and anyway, about how fructose bypasses or something. Okay, what's going on? Crispinator, how's it going? Whether there's a certain point where your body does actually store them as fat, because it's an inefficient process, so there must be some point when that happens. So let's see. When you overeat carbohydrates, your body aggressively tries to waste them as heat. It ramps up your metabolism by 7 to 11% and loses up to 25% of the excess calories just trying to process them. Lipogenesis is what happens when that heat wasting system is completely overwhelmed. If the waterfall of incoming carbs is too massive for this spillway to handle, the dam overflows and the body is forced to store them as fat. So maybe there's a certain point where, like, yeah. How many excess carbs can you get away with? 3 fans on my bedroom. Oh, really? Oh, blimey. Okay, well, I'm fine. Chris Vanetta, I'm just doing this. So, let's have a look. See what it says. 24-hour pass, up to 500 gram excess. Landmark metabolic overfeeding studies by, what's this? Demonstrated that when human subjects were fed massive carbohydrate surpluses, the body comfortably stored the first 500 grams of pure carbohydrate directly into muscle and liver glycogen pools. On day one of a massive carb surge, less than 10 to 18% of the excess is converted to fat, while the rest is stored as glycogen or wasted as heat. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for supporting the live stream. By day 3 or 4, continuous carbohydrate overfeeding, your internal glycogen tanks hit 100% capacity. Once these tanks are maxed out, your ability to get away with any excess carbs vanishes. At this point, 100% of any additional carbohydrate surplus is funneled directly into DNL, converting glucose into body fat. The size of your muscle sink. The exact number of grams you can handle is highly individual and depends heavily on your muscle mass and physical activity levels. So, yeah, we don't really have aircon, do we, in these? Yeah. If you sit all day, your glycogen tanks remain chronically full. You get away with buffer is tiny, perhaps only 50 to 100 grams of excess carbs before triggering lipogenesis. So yeah, so basically what it's saying is if you get to the maximum, how many do you waste as heat to prevent fat gain? Anyway, everybody all right? I'm going to probably get going shortly. I wasn't even going to stay on this long, actually, but someone unliked, I don't know, whatever. People do that sometimes, but when you reach the absolute maximum glycogen capacity and continue to aggressively overeat carbohydrates, you waste exactly 15 to 25% of those excess carbohydrate calories as heat to defend against fat gain. The remaining 75 to 85% is stored, however, because your body's sequence of defense mechanisms, how it stores that remaining energy changes drastically. when your glycogen tanks are 100% full, the 75 to 85% of calories that are not burned off as heat are split into two categories. Massive upregulated oxidation. Your body doesn't just passively start turning everything into fat, it aggressively forces your muscles and organs to burn glucose as their exclusive fuel. It completely shuts down fat burning, therefore, the carbs are stored in the sense that they are used to cover 100% of daily. So, and then you've got the overflow pipe once it's gone above a certain point. But yeah, so yeah, basically it says so yeah, basically what it's saying, that excess that excess carbs. So this is something to kind of like yeah, well, we're not really used to 32 degrees, you see, in this country, and it's also tends to be a bit more humid as well. Hello, Andy. That also factors in as well, that the humidity might be more like 40 degrees for you almost, because of relative humidity levels. I don't know what the humidity is like where you are, but like I remember my dad was saying that he went to Spain once and it was about, I think it was 40 degrees Celsius. No, it was for over 40. I think it was 43 degrees Celsius. I think it was something like that in southern Spain. And one day here it was like 39 degrees. It was like the hottest day ever. And it felt hotter here, he said, than it did when he was at 43 degrees in Spain. So that's saying something. Oh, really? But like I said, like they were saying, we don't have aircon really here. So, and also we're not really used to hot weather. It's very random and sporadic. But in America and Canada and places like that, where if they've got, say, well, more America really, but like American places like, say, New York, whatever, New Jersey, where they kind of expect it to go up into the 30s in summer. But in this country, it's not really expected that much. It's very inconsistent. We can't really easily acclimatize to it. Yeah, sweat doesn't evaporate well in humid conditions. That's what makes people feel so kind of like, yeah, suffocated. Yeah, Arizona and Texas, yeah, it's dry, like a dry heat, but yeah. Yeah, inconsistent. Yeah, that's the thing is, where it's consistent weather, then you get used to it. Your body becomes adapted. Because I've noticed that if we do have a good run of like, or not good, because it depends on if you think it's good, but like as in hot weather consistently, first couple of days it's awful. After a bit, your body's like, oh, okay, we can deal with this. I've noticed that before. The body adapts. It doesn't adapt quickly to big changes. It can adapt well to small changes quickly, but it can't quickly adapt to big changes, if you get me. So yeah. So it says now your body will use those 100 grams of excess carbohydrates or calories first to fill glycogen tanks or burn for daily fuel. and will only waste a small fraction, about 5 to 15%, as heat initially. The common misunderstanding about how the term calories is used here: your body cannot burn something as heat instead of it counting as calories. Wasting energy as heat is a form of burning calories. I also know I eat everything and don't follow any diet, and I know that one day I will receive a severe slap in the face. Oh no. Here's exactly what happens to those 100 grams of carbs, which equal 400 total calories if you add them to your diet every day. Yeah. Glycogen sponge. Your body safely stores almost all of the 100 grams directly into your liver and muscles of glycogen. Blah, blah, blah. Storage shift. Once your glycogen tanks are completely full from daily overeating, your body changes its strategy. It shifts to burning 100% carbohydrates for fuel and stops burning your body fat. So that would not be good if you then starts to store body fat. Hello Faye, how you doing? But then it says here, once your glycogen tanks are full, the body activates diet-induced thermogenesis to fight off fat gain. However, it only wastes a percentage of the surplus, not the whole thing. The heat waste tax, your body will waste, so yeah, I'm just 15 to 25% of those excess 400 calories as pure heat. This means about 60 to 100 calories are vaporized into the air. The remaining 300 to 340 do not disappear. Your body will either use them to cover your daily movement, saving your body fat from being burned to convert them directly into fat. The only way to maximize the heat waste, you cannot trick your body into wasting 100% of an everyday carbohydrate surplus as heat. However, you can ensure that the remaining calories go toward building muscle rather than storing fat by using these two rules. Lift weights heavily. If you tear down muscle fibers through progressive resistance training, those extra 100 grams of carbs are aggressively sucked into the muscle cells to repair tissue and replenish glycogen, leaving nothing left to burn to turn into fat. Keep dietary fats low. On days you overeat those 100 gram of carbs, keep your fat intake low because your body is busy burning the extra carbs and radiating heat. It will instantly store any dietary fat you eat directly into your fat cells. Okay, take care, Susie. If you overeat 100 grams of carbohydrates daily, your body will count those calories toward your daily energy balance, storing them as muscle energy, glycogen first, while naturally vaporizing roughly 15 to 25% of the surplus as heat once your storage tanks are reached. To make sure that these 100 grams of extra carbs are working for you, what does your... So anyway, Whisker, hello, how you doing? Froglet, how you doing? Once the tank is full, anyway, hello John Lost, how you doing? I hope you're well. Let's get 50 likes on the live. That's a sedentary approach to think about it. The body prefers to use fat as fuel and spare carbs, but during activities, fat can't be metabolized fast enough for energy needs. Yeah. Like, I'm just saying how, like, if you eat in excess of carbs, then wouldn't that eventually then lead to fat gain then the body would have to then, unless you was eating just the perfect amount of carbs to give your muscles the energy to grow or something, and then, but not too much to store body fat or something. Yeah, it is warm, but yeah, it's cooled a little bit, but yeah. So I'm just trying to think of like the best approach of doing things, like making sure obviously you want to make sure your muscles are getting enough carbs and stuff to like fuel them and to help them grow, but you also want to make sure that you're not overeating calories to a point where it spills over into fat gain. So whether you're eating high carbs or high fat, is it possible to still gain weight through, say like, lipogenesis, as you called it? Even if it is inefficient, that could still be possible to turn some of those extra calories into fat gain. "10,000 calories of carbs a day without Olympic level training will probably cause weight gain, but without Olympic level training, trying to eat 10,000 calories a day would be a huge burden." Yeah, your hunger would be like really probably low if you're sedentary, I find. I actually find my hunger goes up after a hard workout. So that's how I know that my workout's been quite effective, is that if I'm craving after like protein and stuff like that, then that means that my body needs to eat the foods to, refuel the muscles, right? So it's like I earn my appetite, basically. It's almost like my body will just kind of tell me if I need to eat, basically. So it's almost like a kind of intuitive style of eating where you'll just kind of naturally eat what and how much your body needs. And then you'll just kind of not really store excess body fat likely. I mean, I'm not saying works for everybody, but no, I wouldn't do calorie challenges now. I think that's kind of stupid, but no, I don't eat meat now. Hello, Kirsty, how you doing? I'm in the UK. Does fasting work? We were talking about that earlier, and this whole idea that it can slow down your metabolism. But my mum's on the intermittent fasting, but maybe you should be looking into like increasing metabolism through. I think she's been trying to do more activity, but I'm just saying it might not be possible for everyone to be super active, especially if they've got a busy job and they've got commitments and things like that. So I'm just saying that, does it really work for everybody? Not sure about that. Yeah, I suppose you can do that. Hello, Tay Tay, how you doing? Because it's like, yeah, if you're wanting to load up, but after a workout, you should probably only eat whatever your body needs. Otherwise, you're just gonna that can spill into fat gain. There's no point trying to force feed. That's probably where that whole kind of dirty bulking is. They're either force feeding or they're just eating really like low quality food that's just really like hyper palatable. Because it needs to be hyper palatable because they're just going to naturally lose appetite after a while. Once your body starts to get towards where it needs to be in terms of nourishment. Hello, Deke Bowen. Okay. Okay. Just like stop with this nonsense. Right, so yeah, I'm probably gonna wrap it up pretty soon, but yeah. Well, there is that, isn't there? But yeah, trying to lose fat, what's the best option, do you think? Maybe then you would just say let's say, for example, your maintenance calories were, let's say, 3,000 per day. Then if you had, say, 3,000 calories, and then most of those were from carbs and like proteins, then what would probably happen is that your body would just burn some of that excess as like, yeah, it's basically not excess. I mean, the body would just, what I'm saying is that the deficit would come from body fat. And that's probably going to happen while you're sleeping, a lot of it. You know, that's when I think a lot of the fat or the fat burning is actually happening during sleep time. So I'm talking if someone's actually trying to lose weight, then yeah, they're technically going to have to be in a deficit regardless. You know, they're going to have to be in a calorie deficit. You know, they're going to burn fat. So yeah, they might technically be say, "Well, I'm at maintenance or something," but technically it's a deficit because because when you take into account the thermic effect of that food and and its inefficiency of, let's say, you know, if you ate almost entirely carbs and you had a process that's like 25%, you know, that burns 25% of the calories to then create fat. So even if you had, say, 3,000 calories worth of carbs a day, even though that might be too much for like, but let's say you had, I don't know, 1,000 calories a day. Let's say, because you could have 2,500 calories from carbs, 1,000 calories from protein, and 500 calories from fat. So let's say you burn 2,500 from carb. Well, you can't burn that probably because most people only have the ability to burn about 2,000 calories a day in the form of carbs. So those extra 500, let's say, get used for lipogenesis. So then let's say, so they do the lipogenesis. Now they've got, yeah, basically a 500 calorie, let's say, yeah, like calories of fat gain at that point. But the body quickly burns up those extra 500 calories of, you know, weight gain, basically. It taps into its own body's reserves. So it's never going to be in a surplus of calories, is what I'm saying, by doing that. Yeah. But how are you doing? So it ends up being a deficit. Unless you're going way, way too much, like you said, if you had a 10,000 calorie a day. But like you were saying, who's going to be eating 10,000 calories a day in carbs? It's not going to happen. You can't eat 10,000 calories unless you're eating loads of dried fruit, but even that's going to be tricky, probably, I reckon. Try eating 10,000. You would literally have to, this is how much you would have to eat of dried fruit. So in a bag of, like, say, 500 grams of dates, there's about 2,000, maybe not even that, less than 2,000 calories. Somewhere between probably about 1,500 to 2,000 calories in there. So you're going to have to eat a few of those bags a day. That is just think about how sick you would feel eating all that. That would be sickly, that, to try and eat all of that. Yeah. Yeah, bike rides will help with all that, and just, yeah, you would carb up before the workout, whatever, or the exercise, and then, like you say, body would tap into its fat stores. But yeah, to not restrict carbs might be a good one for just like keeping your metabolism high, making sure that your body's burning still burning as many calories to exercise and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. But some say that, you know, low metabolisms are better for you. Slow metabolisms, I mean, for longevity. But then again, that would then assume that you'd have to probably have a sedentary lifestyle, and you would have to be like probably quite low muscle mass. Well, apparently that Brian Johnson guy has a pretty slow metabolism. I don't know. I don't know how he could do it though, because he reckons he's only on about was something like 2,300 calories a day, and I think at one point he was on just around 2,000 calories a day, which apparently he's not on anymore. But I don't know how he could get away with 2,300 calories a day, considering he's about 5'11", at around, I think it was around 79 kilograms. So if you do the maths on that, I don't know how he could do that whilst being active like he does. So I'm not sure what's going on there, whether he's even counting the calories correctly or I don't know. Yeah, low metabolism doesn't sound like a good way to live. Well, it's the whole argument of like, are you really living if you just kind of sat around all day and doing nothing? You know? You might argue that, well, I could live a couple of years longer if I have a slower metabolism, but then am I really living in that case? Hello, Bella Smith. So, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people like using lies and stuff, yeah. That's the thing, people pushing all kinds of BS. That's just not backed by any science. It's just, yeah, oh, do this particular workout style, this new trendy gimmicky thing, then yeah, half of them are on gear, or they're just genetic outliers that have a lot of survivorship bias, you know? So you can't trust in that kind of stuff, can you? In a lot of cases, because they're just, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just sometimes I've eaten up to like 5,000 calories in a day, and I'm like, how is it even possible? Like, even with the amount of, you know, like exercise and stuff, because there's a limit to how many carbs your body can store and use. Let's say 500 grams or whatever at any given time. So then you think, well, does that mean your body can actually then keep restoring carbs as long as it's burning them? As long as it stays below like the 500 gram threshold or something? I don't know, but the maximum amount of carbs I could burn is like 2,000 per day. Then protein, I might be on, say, not that much, probably about between 600 to 800 calories a day from protein intake. Then, so that's only up to about 26 to 2,800 from that, and then like, but then the rest would be body fat. So that would mean I'm probably consuming about, I don't know, actually I probably do consume thousands of calories in fats actually. But I guess just through all the walking and stuff, that might be what's doing it. But also, like you were saying, when you take into account the tax of high carbs, basically, that the more carbs you have, then the more energy gets wasted at a certain point. Anyway. Yeah, that's true. The brain needs sugar. That's the thing, is that if you're not like you said, if you're not getting it from direct glucose, then your body's going to use gluconeogenesis, which is highly inefficient. So yeah, so 5,000 calories a day is like, yeah, that might sound like crazy, but for my activities and stuff, then it's probably about right. Maybe it's a little bit excessive, but I was also looking into some on how high fiber might actually cause a few calories to actually get excreted. So I wonder if there's a link with that as well, that eating lots and lots of fiber, some of the excess calories might actually get shat out. Yeah, harder to overeat. Harder to gain fat overeating carbs than fat. Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Oh, we got 50 likes. Thank you, everybody. But yeah, if it's spilling over, let's say, then and your body hasn't burnt the excess carbs or whatever, then well, actually, it won't turn them all into. We just said how what can turn some into fat. Maybe it turns 50 grams of it into fat. Let's say if you do overeat it, but then that's 200 calories. So about 50 calories of those will just be wasted. Use equals burn. Yeah, basically. I remember there was this thing on like brown fat. I don't know how true it is because I've heard some people saying that it's BS. That doing things like cold plunges and stuff like that, and supposedly triggering, turning basically into brown fat, brown adipose tissue, if you want to get all scientific. Some people saying that it's BS because adults can't really do that. I've heard that is it babies or something I've heard that have higher levels of brown fat. I'm not too sure, but brown fat said to be just like burn through heat. So it's not actually used as calories, is what I mean, like for energy use. It's but yeah, I don't know about all that stuff. Yeah. Or like cold showers. Yeah, cold showers are not particularly fun, are they? But yeah, effective it is, but yeah. Because it could just be one of those bro sciencey things, and I've learned to just kind of not really trust too much on that. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? That I wouldn't say that fasting for a week and not eating anything is the best idea, because chances are you're going to lose some protein. You're going to lose a little bit of muscle. You're probably going to be depriving yourself of certain nutrients. So I don't necessarily recommend just straight up fasting. And also that it can, in some cases, cause the body to fight back if you're doing crazy diets like that. But I don't know. I'm not really. I mean, it might work for some people, but might work a little bit. But I don't think cold showers would produce dramatic results. Yeah, I doubt it. I really doubt it. I've done like fasts before, but I'm just saying that like if you want to preserve muscle mass, I don't think fasting is really the best idea, because there's a constant sort of like, the body's constantly like turning over like protein. Unless you're constantly having protein, and then over time that can cause losses. Now, if you just do it as a one-off, I guess it's not that bad. But if people are doing this over time, especially as people start getting older, that can cause catabolism, and it's a lot harder to rebuild muscle. So that's the concern about these types of things. But anyway, but I'm not an expert, so just saying. Yeah, because then it can put the body into survival mode. So, yeah. But if it's minimal, but it's still happening though, isn't it? So I don't know. I'd say that you should maybe fast with, if you're gonna fast, then maybe add some amino acids in, just to kind of preserve your fat, preserve your muscle or something. You could just add in some essential amino acids or a protein powder or something, just to. But the whole thing of fasting itself is like kind of, I don't know. It depends how long you go on a fast, but it's like a form of crash dieting, which oftentimes has a lot of people find that they have this kind of rebound effect. Like, look what happened with what was it? Mama Cass from the Mamas and Papas. Didn't she end up dying as a result of crash dieting or something? I could be wrong on that, but I'm just saying, be careful with this stuff. Obviously, probably best to just make sure a doctor's like monitoring it and stuff. But yeah, let's have a look. Cass Elliot, was she called? Whatever. But yeah, anyway. I'll just check this actually. You're not familiar with the story? Yeah, I heard something about, because she got bullied even by her own band members, I heard. So it said she died of a heart attack that was heavily brought on by years of extreme crash dieting and severe weight fluctuations. So, yeah, it says she'd suffered from rapid left-sided heart failure. Pathologist Keith Simpson noted that her heart muscle had sustained severe degeneration, a condition directly linked to the immense physical stress of chronic malnutrition, fasting, and rapid yo-yo dieting. So this can happen with people if they're going on crazy like fasts and stuff, and they're yo-yo dieting, where they're going on a fast. Maybe it works for you, but I'm just saying that you have to be careful with this kind of stuff, because everyone's different. So just because it works for you doesn't necessarily mean that everybody should be doing it. You know, because yeah, starvation diets force the body to catabolize its own tissue for energy. Over time, this actively weakens the skeletal muscles and severely degrades the muscle tissues of the heart. No illegal drugs or alcohol were in her system at her time of death. Her heart simply gave out from exhaustion. So there we go. That's yeah. Anyway, what we're saying. All right. I'm going, guys. So thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.